Major step forward in stopping the spread of COVID-19 in Georgia. Today, frontline healthcare workers in Chatham, Glenn, and other coastal Georgia counties will receive the COVID-19 vaccine, with Governor Brian Kemp there to witness it all. Tracy A. McPeer live in Atlanta with much more on the rollout.
Well, the Pfizer vaccine rolled out across the country yesterday, and nearly 6,000 doses came right here to Georgia. Now, the first cities to get the vaccine, Savannah and Brunswick. The vaccine arrived at the Georgia Department of Public Health's Coastal District office as part of a pilot project, and a few healthcare workers were vaccinated there yesterday. Vaccinations are expected to ramp up today. Now, the director of the Coastal Health District says the 5,850 doses will be used to vaccinate frontline workers and those in long-term care facilities.
This is unbelievably exciting. We've been dealing with this since January or February and looking for a light at the end of the tunnel.
The Department of Public Health says that Georgia will receive another 84,000 doses in this initial allocation, and more doses would continue steadily. Coming up in about a half hour here, Tracy will be back and tell us more on when the vaccine is expected to arrive in Atlanta. The vaccines are much needed as COVID-19 deaths have now surpassed more than 300,000 in the U.S. and the virus is not slowing down in our state. 100 new COVID patients reported just yesterday seeking hospital care. In total, nearly 3,000 people are hospitalized due to the virus. That's just 200 patients shy of our summer record. The number of infections is slightly down at nearly 3,300 new cases statewide yesterday. We often do see a drop in cases on Monday as fewer people get tested over the weekend, and there's a lag in reporting. Even with a slight drop in cases, our positivity rate is above 14%, nearly 3 times the World Health Organization's recommended level for reopening.